Welcome to episode 3 of the second season of the Bigger Than Running podcast. On this one, I want to talk to you about New York City Marathon. I want to talk to you about elitism in running. You people that have got something to say because someone chooses to wear a hydration vest for their 5K run, shut up. You people that then see someone running in carbon plates and you think, oh, you're too slow to be running. Be quiet. Right? We're also going to talk about these shoes here, Kirun Kipstorm Lab. We're going to talk about Ben, Felton, and Meg. They're putting out some merch. I'm going to tell you 5 ways that you can support those guys with what they're trying to do. Let's get going. Welcome to episode 3 of the second season of the Bigger Than Running podcast. Now, what makes it the second season? Well, the change in the YouTube channel. If you were listening to this before, you were listening to it on my normal YouTube channel, Bigger Than Running, but I opened up a separate dedicated YouTube channel for this podcast. And that kind of clearly marked a line, starting a new leaf. And this is the second season, 3rd episode of that. Secondly, welcome to the glamorous studios of the Bigger Than Running podcast. In other words, the kitchen. I normally record somewhere else, but Jenny is out tonight and I've got the kids, and so I can't be too far away. Therefore, we brought the podcast into this more glamorous setting, the kitchen. The good thing is, if I get hungry, if I get thirsty, the fridge is over there. There's another fridge over here. We've got snacks. Just finished dinner. We had pizza. So pretty good location to film or record a podcast. Okay, so what's coming up? I want to talk to you about elitism in running. It's a negative topic, but I want to spin it in a positive way. The way I've been impacted by elitism, especially being on social media, whether that's Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube. I want to talk to you about New York Marathon. Massive shout out to everybody who's running at the time when this comes out. You either will have been getting ready for your run, or maybe you've done the run already and then you're coming across this. So either way, we're going to talk about New York Marathon. And then in the shoe section, we're going to talk about Kirun's Kipstorm Lab, a shoe that the guys at Kirun sent to me for review, which is what I've been running in. I've managed to get it to 52K in the week. And so we're going to review that, but not in here. I'm just going to give you an overview of what that shoe is, kind of bring it into your radar and make you a bit more aware of it. And then I want to talk to you about my friend Ben is running. Started doing some merch. And so I'm trying to find ways of supporting him simply because this is what he does. So for me, on a Monday to Friday, I go to work. You know, I work full time. And so when I do YouTube, when I do Instagram, when I'm doing my running, it's something I just do because I like it. Whereas this is what him and his Mrs. Ben and Meg, that's what they do, you know? So I want to support what they're doing. So they've just started to launch their merch. And so I want to yap about it to kind of make you a bit more aware of it. For those of you that are not too aware, and find ways of supporting what they're doing. He's a really cool guy, and I like what he started to do with his content, bringing Meg into it. And it kind of brings a bit more of a relatable feel. And so just want to do my bit. Okay, before we get moving, thank you to everybody who subscribed. I want to tell you, man, I'm really, really thankful for you taking time to subscribing to this new channel. At the time of filming this, I've got 62 subscribers. Now listen, on my main channel, I have 26,462, I want to say. And so to have just the 62, honestly, it is exciting. It is starting a new adventure. It is starting a new chapter and trying to get this thing flying. Now, I'm only going to start thinking of having guests on this podcast once I get to 100. So if you're hearing this, please check it out. Subscribe if it's something you like. I would be really, really grateful if you took time to just subscribe to the YouTube channel, but also listen to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from, whether that's Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, wherever. I'm just grateful to have you on board. Okay, now I said I would talk about elitism, so let's start with that. That is the main topic of this podcast episode. So, what do I mean by elitism? Let me explain it like this. within every single field, you're going to have the elites of that field, the pros, the people that are really good at it. Okay. You then have the semi kind of good, the semi elites, the people that are all right. And then the people that are hobbyists, people that are just doing that thing to pass time because they just enjoy it. You will have that with anything. So if you go, for example, people that just simply want to chill out and just enjoy themselves, playing basketball, for example, rock up at the basketball court, whoever is there, they'll do some teams. One team will have no tops on, the other team will have vests on. Boom, done, right? You then have people that play in a league. But within the leagues, there's also like small teams that don't really compete that well, but they're in similar teams. It's people that work full time, have a team, and just keep themselves moving, keep themselves enjoying the sport of basketball. And then you get the teams that are in proper leagues, and then you get the professionals. In running, unfortunately, it's not that structured, okay? In running, you do have the people that are, especially now, because running has boomed so much. You've got run clubs. You've got the runners that are doing couch to 5K. Never ran before, just finding out about running, and they're just giving it a go, okay? These are people that might be parents, that might work full time, students, or whatever it is, but running is not something they do with a lot of seriousness. With some people, they understand that exercise is good, and so running has become that for them. With some people, they might be in the gym lifting weights, but they recognize that some part of that exercise needs to contain cardiovascular exercise. And so they jog, okay? And then you've got the people that take running as a sport. This is what they do. In their free time, that's their sport. They sign up to events, competitions, all this kind of stuff. And then you've got the people that see themselves, even though they work full-time jobs, but running to them is it. Running is what they do. In their free times, they run 4 or 5 times a week. They're following a plan. They're tracking. They know all the words. They know what threshold, lactate threshold. They know all this kind of stuff to a point that they've understood all aspects of running. And then you get the elites, the pros, and all this kind of stuff. I'm just doing this to kind of paint the picture in your head, okay? I want to share with you my experience with elitism that was a toxic experience to a point that I felt like I was an imposter, okay? Now, what made me feel that way is simple. I landed on this running scene with a YouTube channel, with an Instagram profile that suddenly took off, okay? And because of that, I was being measured with this benchmark of what a YouTuber should be doing. So for example, I would get comments like, mate, you should actually try and run a bit more and leave the camera, put the camera down, leave all that content stuff and just focus on running. Actually become a better runner. Actually, now, before I paint that as elitism, let me tell you the good side of such comments, okay? Because I am putting myself on this platform and at times I'm giving people advice, even though that advice is coming from a personal experience, just what I've experienced. I'm not a qualified coach. I'm just a person, just a guy who is trying to run his 10K in less than an hour for the first time. Because I'm trying to do that, I decided I'm going to film it and share it. That's it. That is literally all I was trying to do. But because of the size of my YouTube channel, it became an expectation that I should be running X amount of miles per week. I should not be this low. And I should be progressing at a certain rate. All this kind of stuff. So people then started to comment to say, Aubrey, man, focus less on this YouTube, Instagram stuff. Just focus on running. The other thing, now remember, I'm just one guy. So I would run in a shoe and I knew what I felt about that shoe. And I would then do a review of that shoe. People would hate that because We don't think, Aubrey, you've ran enough in that shoe to be able to have derived an opinion that is credible to us. And I think there's a fair point in that there needs to be some sort of benchmark. And I've now established that not only for myself, but to give people the credibility, the trust that they can have on me. 50K is my benchmark. I don't issue a review on a running shoe until I exceed 50K in that shoe. So when we talk about Kip Run's shoe today, that's what I'm going to tell you about, because I've reached that 50K mark. I ran 52K in that shoe. Anyway, so because of what my YouTube channel was doing, the size of it, I had people coming at me with expectations. Now, the expectations are created by these people will view a channel like Kofuzi, Joanna, Sagasu Running, the Run Testers, Believe in the Run. And being familiar with such channels like that creates an expectation of what a running shoe reviewer should be doing. And if that expectation is not met, those people then kind of go, this guy is not the guy for us. The other thing is, and I think where I met a lot of people challenging me, I was brought up to be very respectful. I don't swear, I don't speak harshly. Now, because of that, if I find a shoe to not work for me, I've never been the type to say, oh, that shoe is rubbish. It's not. Simply because, let me tell you, one of the running shoe reviewers I watch the most is a guy called Ben Parks. Now, Ben Parks rated one of my favorite shoes, the Nike Invincible 3, as one of the worst shoes of a certain year. I might get that wrong, right? But that tells you, as much as I love him, he's got his own preferences compared to what I'm going to say. So the viewer that then comes from Ben Parks' channel comes to watch my channel, and there I am saying complete opposite to the guy he likes. Again, I'm then met with this skepticism, dislike, and at times just outright toxicity. When you put all of that in the background, and here I am, being flown to go run that marathon, that running event, and you don't see me running to the level that you think I should be running, you then start to express different views. Now, the reason why I want to shift that to elitism. Imagine this. I am that guy that just shows up with his basketball shoes at the gym. Okay? I don't profess to be a coach. I don't profess to be an all-out great basketball player. I'm just a guy that goes to work on a Monday morning and I finish work Monday evening, repeat all of that until Friday. When I have free time, I then go, I'm just going to go play basketball at the court with the guys, with the girls, whatever it is. When I'm done playing basketball, I'm going to make a YouTube video about it, okay? That's all I've ever been. Because I'm able to produce a video, and all the other dads, the mums, all the other people that then want to go play basketball outside of their full-time job, full-time parenting, full-time responsibilities as a grown-up, suddenly have someone they can relate to. When I started sharing my running journey, a whole community of runners suddenly went, oh man, there's finally someone who runs my kind of pace. There is suddenly a shoe reviewer that says, you know what, I run my 10K in an hour. Because of that, my channel grew. But it was still being expected to me. Like, how is Aubrey going to be running a marathon and is only training 50K per week? That guy is not a proper runner. And the people that feel they own this running thing, oh my gosh. If you are underperforming against their expectations, it becomes such a big deal. There are comments like, you don't even look like a runner. I remember when Cole and Ben paced me at what used to be called the A6 London 10K. Somebody put a comment on Cole's video, like, we don't like what you're doing. Focus on your running and not pacing overweight runners. Talking about me, right? Now just think that social media, I know, is toxic, okay? When I say elitism, I'm not talking about what he said about me. Is Cole, who is honestly a gent. He's got good things happening to him and you can't be happier, right? They don't think he should be pausing his running thing, pacing someone like me, because proper runners need to be focusing on, okay? That's the bit that I want to talk to you about. Proper running. Very recently, and I don't think the person that commented this on my YouTube video meant anything harsh by what he's saying. And if it was the old me, I would have been properly affected by this statement. He said, mate, focus on the running and a bit less on the content. And that paused me a little bit, and I said, okay, well, this guy needs a response. I then said, actually, you know what? You're right. If I put the cameras down and a focus, I probably could be a faster runner. I could be a better runner. Whatever you want to say better is. But you know what? I'll be real with you guys in that if I wasn't doing the Instagram alongside this running, if I wasn't doing podcasts alongside my running, if I was not doing my YouTube alongside my running, I probably wouldn't be running this day. This brings me to another point. That guy is not a proper runner. He's just a YouTuber, okay? There was a guy that used to be very close to my channel, used to support me, a long-time subscriber. He unsubscribed from my channel. And that's simply because he said I wasn't a proper runner. All I was doing was focusing on my YouTube. Again, it comes from a very elitist mindset that says, actually, your number one passion needs to be this running first. You need to be a runner first. If that is the person you're after, I promise you, there are plenty of channels that solely focus on running. And that's okay. There are plenty of YouTube channels that when you go to their channels, they're talking about this workout, this workout, this workout. My YouTube channel now is even talking about weight loss. It's even talking about going to the gym. Heck, when I get to where I'm done with these world majors, I'm going to be showing you a bit more of what fatherhood means. I'm going to be showing you a bit more of what being a good partner, a good parent really means. Because it is all part of who I am. But when this person started to see that actually, you know what? When I go to, for example, I did Boston Marathon, okay? Boston Marathon is a very tough one. I say tough one because it's got a qualifying time. It doesn't get more elitist than that, which I respect because there needs to be set criteria of how people are going to get into that. So when people saw someone like me is got an invite to Boston, my goodness, right? The first video I always make on those trips is my flight to wherever I'm going. The second video is the shakeout runs. Third video might be just me checking out this place where I've gone to. So this guy who decided to comment said, you know what, I'm done with these travel vlogs. Why don't you start focusing on running? I'm like, hold on. I've literally gone to the States. I've never been to Boston. So you're telling me I should only do these videos, focus on lactate threshold 1. Oh, and how many reps of that interval fartlek session that I've been... Get out of my face, right? I get it. You have expectations. But just let people be who they are. Now, the good thing with me is I've got a platform like this to talk about things like this. But what about your normal, everyday person that is just trying to be happy? That person that just has free time once in a while and wants to run. There are people that will pick on other people because they've decided to wear a hydration vest only for a 5K. why is it any of your business that somebody chooses to wear a hydration vest, even if it's just 1 mile? Why is it your business to criticize them? Help me understand that. Please help me understand that. Do you know what? I've had people come to me saying, Aubrey, do you know those are carbon plated shoes? I'm like, yeah, I do. Well, you don't run fast enough to be wearing that. You're not going to be able to rip the benefits out of it. Like, hold on. These shoes are mine. Some of these shoes I've actually paid for with my own money. Better still, the people that make that shoe have seen it fit to send it to me. How are you telling me what kind of shoe I need to be wearing? If I deem it to be fine for me, I'm going to wear it. So check this out. Jeremy. Listen, Jeremy, bro. If I decide I'm going to wear carbon plated shoes, even on a zone 2 run, I understand the risks of what that is and I'm okay with it. Leave me to do it. If Jane down the road decides she's going to wear a hydration vest for a 5K, let her do it. For a mile, let her do it. Because you know what? Some people don't just wear hydration vests for hydration because they want pockets. Their phones go in there, their keys go in there. Some people might even do it just as a look. What business of it yours to then criticize those people? Let people do what they want. Jeremy, you do you, all right? You want to wear your 2-inch split shorts, do you, okay? Let people enjoy this running. Let running be inclusive. Let running appeal to as many people. Because you know what, bro? There was a time you were in those shoes. There was a time you were a new runner. Just be thankful that when you started running, there weren't people like you to push you down. Now that you're a faster runner, you're more experienced, you feel like you own the sport of running. Now for me, that's where I start having problems, bro. All right, let me also just say, just in case your name's Jeremy, all the Jeremy is just catching friendly fire, catching strays. Just, hypothetical, just an analogy, yeah? So Jeremy's out there, forgive me. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is allow people to become who they are by simply letting them be who they are in their early days. Now, I don't even assume that they're being that way because it's early days. For some people, that might be all they want to do. They might not want to be fast, super fast runners. They might just simply choose to run because it makes them happy. So, the next time you see someone running 5K in 40, 50 minutes, the next time you see someone just casually taking this running thing, you know what, unserious, just them being who they are, let them. I know how you might feel about running. Now, let's not get that twisted with don't help people, don't advise people. If you're a qualified coach, chipping in here and there. But please make sure your feedback, your advice, your critique is solicited, is invited. Check first. Because sometimes a lot of what gets said, a lot of what happens is simply hate. I can't call it anything else. So, make sure who you are addressing is happy with you addressing them. That's very important. I just wanted to touch on that because I feel like there's a lot of that happening in the sport of running. It certainly happened to me. Anyway, let's move on. New York Marathon. I just got off the phone with my friend Thomas from Believe in a Runner. I called him just to wish him all the best. Now, the reason why I called him to say all the best, whilst he's running the marathon along with the other Believe in a Run crew, there's a lot that guy does ahead of these big world major marathons. So they're working with New Balance. Now, this is what I want to talk about with New York Marathon specifically. I had the opportunity of meeting Ted, who is the race director of New York Marathon. Now, I know that all of these races have got directors. All of them have people and a committee, a team. But there is something about this man. that is, he normally, now, what you guys must know. So there are these world major marathons, the very big marathons, all have race directors. They each have to be at each other's marathons. Okay. So the race director of Sydney Marathon will be at New York Marathon tomorrow, or by the time you're listening to this, today. He will be there because he has to be. I met Ted not only in New York when I did New York Marathon in 2024, but also in Sydney. And I crossed the Sydney finish line and he was there, gave me the biggest hug, and he gave me a talk. And I've just always just loved the guy. The reason I wanted to call out Ted is the guy, for those of you that know how business management works, a business's tone, culture, professionalism is set at the top. Ted is a perfect representation of that, setting the tone from the top. And it's important that I highlight that because of his friendliness, because of how New York he is. And by that, I mean, the guy is New York. You just have to see him. You will know what I mean. Really good guy. And the spirit of what I've just described really is infused all the way down. And when you get to New York, you understand the vibe because New York is a big deal on its own anyway. What I like about New York Marathon weekend, however, is the brands. The brands recognize. Now, listen to me carefully. All world majors attract all the brands, right? But they can only attract them to the ceiling is the city it's going in itself. So for example, when I went to Sydney, the expo at Sydney, yes, it's great. The other brands being represented there, not that many. When you go to Boston, they have pop-up shops and it's just one long street, maybe two parallel, as well as the expo. It's a big deal. New York, however, with it already being New York, every brand understands the presence they need to have because it's New York. I'm telling you now, the experience of New York as a runner, as a running shoe nerd, as someone who follows running fashion, even just knowing that you're going out there for New York Marathon, even if you live in New York, you know that that city completely flips during the time of that marathon. The point of me highlighting New York is this. When I tell you why I call this channel Bigger Than Running, this is the perfect example. Now, the first time I ever went to the United States of America was when I was running New York Marathon. I was invited to run New York by Thomas and Believe in a Run. They got my place through New York Roadrunners, the New York City Marathon, and New Balance were then the people that then funded me going there. The story itself is crazy. I rock up Heathrow Airport. For those of you that don't know, I live in England. And so I rock up at the airport and I go, yep, here's my passport, my lady. The lady at the counter then says, do you have your ESTA? I'm like, my what? Your ESTA. What's one of them? Your visa to go to the States, right? Because obviously I rocked up with my British passport arrogance going, what do you mean I need a visa to go to the States? Long story short, my flight was at 8:30 that morning. It's like, no, you're not going. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not going? Well, you don't have a visa, so they're not going to let you into the country. What I would advise you did, stand aside, apply. If you're lucky, you're going to get it in an hour. You're going to get it in the afternoon. I don't know. So there I am, did the application. Bang, bang, and just see, hopefully I will get my visa, right? The next flight was 12 o'clock. I missed that flight because I got my visa approved at 4. By 5, I was getting on a flight and I ended up getting into New York super late that day, but at least I went. Anyway, got straight to the hotel, got myself one of these oversized American pizzas, one of the best pizzas I've ever had. The next morning, I meet up with the gang. Thomas, Megan, we go to get a coffee, and I then attend a Believe in a Run shakeout for the first time. Now, mind you, I've never been to the States before. I see the number of people there, that fleet feet, and there's so many people, and some of these people know who I was. Now, don't get me wrong. I know people follow my YouTube channel, my Instagram, but what happened there completely hit me hard. So that was the first shakeout. So that was on the Friday. We did that. And then on the Saturday was even bigger shakeout run. We did the expo. Oh man, the expo. My goodness. The expo in New York, mind-blowing. The pop-up stores in New York, mind-blowing. Got to hang out with, and the crazy thing about it is, I was in fanboy mode. Like everywhere I looked, boom, there is Kofuzi over there. Saw my boy Nick Bester doing his shakeout run in Central Park. Do you know what I mean? It's just mad what New York was. The main thing though, I want to talk to you. We can now talk about it because it's past, right? Okay, so it's morning time. We're in a bus. Now, my New York Marathon experience is it's not your normal experience because people have to get up, get on a ferry, do all this kind of stuff. I was taken on a bus. New Balance has sorted out a bus because I was in the same hotel where I was seeing all these elite athletes go in. I couldn't believe it, right? In the morning. Anyway, we get in a bus. We're driven to the race village and we get there, right? We're in a VIP tent. Thomas walked us there. We're all chilling. Everyone's there. Me, Lo, Megan, everyone is there. And we're just having an amazing time in his tent and not freezing our butts off in the cold, right? Anyway, we get out. Now, I'm much slower than Megan. The other people that were running this thing, right? Way, way slower, right? Anyway, we're going to go into our wave, into our corrals, and I'm thinking, wait, guys, I don't know if I should come with you guys because I obviously don't have the right bib, right? Anyway, I didn't even try to. We're walking. Before we even get checked, the guy goes, "Hey, believe in the run. Come on." Just waved us through. Didn't even check our bibs. Just waved us out. I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, so we got in the corral. We got in our waves. We're waiting there. National anthem. Ted does his announcements, sets us off, and we're off. I'm having the time of my life. I'm in New York, halfway. And I'm talking halfway mark. And I remember it. It's the bridge. And you get to see, I think Bandit had put up one of their banners. And I just didn't have it in me. It was the first time I was being properly humbled by a marathon. And I walked. I tried to go again and I just couldn't. And I walked. I tried to go again, got to the first bridge. Oh, it hit me. And I walked. And then you get to, I don't know what bridge it is, just before the 16-mile mark, I want to say. Now, mind you, you're coming from a lot of noise. You got people cheering. Everyone's crazy excited. The New Yorkers know. And I'm telling you this now. London Marathon goes crazy. But New York, you know how these marathons have like fully lined up crowds along the course? New York has that. But in layers, you got people standing behind other people with signs. So you're coming from that. And then you get to this bridge that I'm referring to, and it's just silence. All you hear is just people struggling and their feet going. And I can't believe it. I don't know how long that bridge is, but I walked the whole thing. Anyway, I got out and you're met with this deafening sound of people cheering. Got back on it and I ran as best as I could. And I struggled, man. I struggled really, really hard at New York Marathon. It was such a humbling experience because of how much I struggled. I get to, I don't know what mark it was. I met my friend Chris Chung. He wheeled me on. I met Alex Hams, wheeled me on. And I met Allison. She reminded me of a message that I normally receive in the morning of a marathon that my friend Matt Nash sends me. I finally then realized that regardless, I'm going to finish this thing. Now, how does the elitism mindset get into this? You see, because I am a YouTuber, I am on Instagram, I do these marathons. Oh, and I've been flown over by a brand to do these world majors that other people are trying to do. There are some expectations on me, to a point where I started feeling down because New York Marathon was done in 4 hours 59. I recently ran Chicago Marathon and I did that 4:42 because I also struggled in Chicago. It hit me. Since when did a sub 5 hour marathon become a bad thing? Now, I'm asking that question very seriously. You see, when I ran Chicago, I ran with Dan. And Dan said to me, I want you to think back 3 years ago and tell that Aubrey that you're running world major marathons. That guy would just be happy to be sitting on the sideline just cheering. You're running in them. Tell that guy that you've just ran 6 of these world major marathons. What are you doing being upset that you did it in 4 hours 59, 4 hours 42? What are you doing saying it's a bad run that you struggled because you ran that? Here is why. I too got caught up in this elitism. I've been watching YouTubers go into tantrums, go into tears because they didn't hit a sub 3 hour marathon. Can you imagine this? Do you know the kind of volume I would kick up if I ran a sub 3 hour marathon? Do you know how many videos I would make? How many announcements? Heck, I'd even get like a column in a newspaper to tell people I did that. I'm telling you now, I'm now awake to the fact that we can't be these snobs. We really can't. Now, if Eliud Kipchoge, can pull out of a race, not even finish it, I'm okay with finishing a marathon at 4:42, 4:59. I'm training now to see if I can run Tokyo Marathon, if I do get a place, sub 4 hours. Do you know that some people would be so heartbroken, rethink their running if they ran a marathon in just under 4 hours? And I get it. It's relative. I get it. It's all about perspective. I understand that. And trust me, I do get it. But some of us need to be freed from this elitist mindset that we've now become part of this herd or clique that thinks that you have to perform a certain way. You know, for me, and this is cheesy, and I think people just say it so they can sound deep, but the marathon itself, race day, victory lap, the achievement is what I'm doing now. Today is Saturday, right now, as I'm telling you this episode. Today is Saturday, and I'm currently on my Strava right now. Let me look it up so I don't make anything up, right? On my Strava right now, if I go to my Strava, boom, progress for the week, 53K. I've got a run tomorrow that's going to make this week 60K. Now, for me running 60K this early on in my marathon block tells you I'm about to go hard and train so hard. Now that is the achievement. The fact that this is what I'm doing now, that's the achievement. Might not be, again, Jeremy, bro, might not be to your expectation or how you want me to do this thing. I get it. But you know what? I'm doing it better than I've ever done. I'm going to make this the best marathon training block I've ever experienced. So for everybody running New York, if you hear this before, great. If you don't, please don't step off the marathon course. Don't step off the finish line. Or even if, dare I say, even if you DNF, if you don't make it to the finish line, take a second and go, oh, let's look at how far I've come. the fact that I got a place, the fact that I trained hard and got here, I'm telling you now, it's just one day that might go your way or it might not. May I please be your voice of reason that stops you from going into this tantrum and telling everyone how badly it went. In fact, flip it on its head and say, you got to run New York City Marathon. That's more than enough. All right. Next part is the shoe section. I told you I'll talk about, boom, here, this shoe here. This is Kirun Kipstorm Lab. This is their race day shoe. This is their premium shoe. Now, I'm not going to talk specs. I'm not here to tell you details about the shoe. Just want to tell you, I've ran 52K in the shoe. And honestly, it is such a joy. To an extent, I feel sad, because this is much, much better of a race day shoe than some of the big brands that you're familiar with. Sadly, it's not going to get acknowledged as such because it's Kirun. It's a smaller brand than the usual big hitters, your Nikes, your Adidas, your New Balance, your Ons, your Hokas. You know what I mean? And so it's a shame because I'm telling you now, the only thing that I criticized about this shoe, it's only one, are these laces. I'm not too sure what's happening with the laces. Kirun, give me a call. I'll let you know. But I've got a detailed review coming up on this shoe. But I want you to look up Kirun Kipstorm Lab. Just look at how it looks. Aesthetically, this is the best looking. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. This is the best looking running shoe I own. The colorway, don't get me wrong, it's pink, and some people might not like pink. I love pink. Orange, the colorway is just beautiful. The look, the aesthetics, beautiful. But the performance, full on PIBA foam. There's a carbon plate that runs the... Man, even the drop, it's got a 4mm drop. And that tells you about the foam at the front. And I just like it. It's not overly cushioned, overly comfortable. But you know what? The return in that, there's some speed work that I did on this and it just felt like it belongs. And it's absolutely great. The other thing I want to highlight about the shoe. So, sadly, if this shoe had a swoosh, had 3 stripes on it, whatever it is, people would say very differently. I want to say it's 239 pounds. Now, a lot of people won't consider it because it's Kirun. I'm just going to tell you just what I think. That price versus the shoe itself makes sense. That price versus the brand doesn't. This is where I get honest. Simply because Kirun are known for producing shoes at the lower end of the price range. So when they hit you with 240 pounds, thereabouts, for one of their shoes, before you even know what the shoe does because of the brand, you're already looking at it as if it's not worth that amount. Because you're not going to pay 240 for this shoe. But I want to challenge you to just think differently. Consider whatever shoe you were going to pay for that price and compare it to Kipstorm Lab. That's all I want you to do. In the week, I'm going to share my review of this. That way you get to see my honest thoughts, the specs, everything about it. But the one thing I want to ask you to do is just to consider it for what it is. 18,000. So today I had an 8K run. No, yesterday I had an 8K run planned and I stretched it out to 18K. Simply because on my Instagram, I had reached 18,000 followers. I added on an extra K just to thank you in advance if you're going to follow me. So I did a 19K run. What does that mean? 18,000 people, when you compare it to the bigger Instagram profiles, isn't that much. But for me, considering where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to do, honestly, it means a lot. Now, for me, I shared a certain stat that speaks to interactions and engagement. When I put out a post, people engage with it on Instagram, even here on YouTube. But on Instagram, I'm talking the likes, the comments, the messages that I receive, people sharing it, people reposting. It just speaks to how engaged my community really is. So when you have an Instagram account, for example, that's got 300,000 followers and all they do is just view that person's content, not necessarily engaging with it, it doesn't mean as much. I honestly feel like I am one of the most supported Instagrammers out there. It's not a statement of arrogance or me bragging at all. It is one just simply acknowledging how well supported I am. And I thought I would take a second in this episode to just thank you all for giving me a place in this community. Okay? Right. And I said I would talk about Ben is running. Ben is running. Ben Felton and Meg, his partner, are my friends. I have a full-time job. And as I mentioned before, I do this stuff because I find it to be fun. Whereas those guys, this is now what they do full-time. So I was pretty hyped to hear that they've put out some merch. Those guys are now doing merch, and I think it goes live either Sunday or Monday by the time when it's coming out. So that's the 2nd or the 3rd of November. I'm not too sure. But when it's out, I want to ask you a favor. Could you please just check it out? You don't have to buy it. Just check it out. You don't have to buy it. Just when they share their posts, please reshare. When they talk about their merch going live, please just share that on your story so your followers or your friends, your family can see it. That's all I ask. When they talk about them doing their merch on their YouTube channel, show them some likes, some comments, just to support what they're doing, because not everyone has money to spend to buy some merch. But what you can do is to just show your support, and it's free. So let me talk about the 5 ways that you can help those guys. Number 1, share their announcements. Whether that's Instagram, YouTube, share it with the people that follow you. Second, just a like. Just a like. Third, comment. Please comment, tagging other people, making them aware of it. Number 4, go ahead and buy it. If you have money, maybe to spend on a glass of wine, a beer, whatever it is, can I ask that maybe just support them? It goes a long way, trust me. And then number 5, find their Instagram, their YouTubes, and give them a follow. Follow what they're doing, subscribe to their channels, and that's it. I'll see you in a bit.